I would like to give here an insight into the so-called Dené-Caucasian languages. I think it's the merit of the great ingenious linguist Sergei Starostin to have found so many etymological correspondences across an unbelievable and scattered array of languages spoken on the Eurasian continent, but also in North America. And we have now pretty good evidence that this relationship is really true and not an artifact. Although their most difficult part, probably, or also together with Sino-Tibetan, the northwest and the northeast Caucasian languages are very hard to etymologize, as there is a great richness of consonants, maybe only rarely found outside Caucasian languages. It's a real impressive inventory of consonants, which can also be looked up in the database by Meritt Ruhlen on www.starling.rhinet.ru, which was initiated by Sergei Starostin. Interestingly, an outgroup to Dené-Caucasian is with high likelihood is Basque, and this credits to have added Basques on safe ground to Dené-Caucasian is to John Bengtson, an American linguist and currently the redactor of Mother Tongue. He has in an ingenious way shown that Basque has many roots common with Dené-Caucasian and thus should be included in this group. Other languages that have affiliations to North Caucasian are the Burushaski languages of northern Pakistan and the Yeniseian languages in southern Siberia. And then, of course, the Na-Dene languages of North American Red Indians. Also here in the Indian languages there is still some controversies whether some other small parts of North American Indian languages should belong close to Na-Dene languages. Also, we have to see here that the grammatic structure of Dené-Caucasian is often very difficult, although also Chinese is part of this complex. We have to look at Dené-Caucasian as relics of probably a former widely representing language family in Eurasia, maybe before the casting by Eurasian languages or in parallel. The true relationship of Dené-Caucasian in the tree of languages is probably not yet sure, although there are, to my feeling, very small congruences, maybe also to Austric. It's also highly interesting that Chinese is part of this large phylum, and we have to see that Chinese has a long history of as a cultural language, reaching back to the so-called pre-classic Chinese, which has still a little bit more difficult words than modern Chinese. Modern Chinese is a slightly reduced language from ancient Chinese insofar as the endings are reduced to a couple of modern endings. An ending inventory of Mandarin which is smaller than, for instance, in Cantonese. So Cantonese is in this respect slightly more archaic. But I think it's highly interesting that Tibetan, Burmese, and Chinese are also within this Dené-Caucasian phylum. And if we come from proto-world roots, we have some keys to understand Chinese better. And within my language book, I could show that pre-classic Chinese and to a little bit smaller grade also modern Chinese have still roots which go back to this old stage of languages that was probably very much influenced by behavioral and psychological universalisms of humans, as we showed in our book. So students of sinology might be interested in looking at the database of Sergei Starostin, who did really incredible work. Also, as I said, in analyzing the North Caucasian languages, which that are really very different from Georgian and the South Caucasian languages, showing once more how ancient these languages in the Caucasus have to be. And also, if you look at Basque, we have to say this is a language reaching back probably 30,000 years at least in Europe, and being maybe the first major language which was spoken in Europe after glaciation. And so there are still words in roots of river names like Are in Switzerland. Are, this root is very similar to Ur for water in Basque, and it's believed that Are is a Basque river name. So thanks a lot for listening to this small piece of lecture.